Hi everybody, I'm Jonathan Farrell and I'm super excited today because we have Miss Tiffany Cross with Dedicated Credit on our podcast today. I've been super excited for this because there's so much to talk about. And so with Dedicated Credit, they're one of our number one referral partners when it comes to people who need credit repair. You've helped a number of my clients tremendously.
Thank you.
And again, I'm just super excited to have you on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Excited to be here.
Thank you. So let's talk, if you don't mind just
Okay.
telling us a little bit about yourself personally, just so the audience can get to know you.
Okay.
How long have you been doing credit repair for?
So as of last January, we have been in business now officially 15 years.
Wow.
All 15 years we've been registered with the Department of Justice, which is a huge win for us. It's only 3% of all credit repair companies have that. So I've been in the industry for 15 years. And essentially the credit repair company itself was started based on our own financial hardships and really a search for a company to do what we needed at the time.
Right.
So that's really kind of our story.
Yeah, and you found something that was needed.
Absolutely.
And just created it, the perfect business model, right?
Absolutely. So, having been through it and walking in those shoes, you really know not only the heart of what the consumer needs,
right,
but you don't have what you need. It's easy to become what you wish you'd had when you needed it. So.
And have you always been based in the Marietta, Temecula location?
We have, and we've grown a lot. So we're actually able to work with clients in 48 states now.
Awesome.
And we do. We work with clients all around the nation. It's just such an honor to be able to assist not only lenders and realtors, but their clients.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the biggest thing, because when I do talk with my clients, I'm like, hey, this is a federally known, like a whole nationwide known company. Like, it's not just hey, this is just a California company based in one specific area. You guys help a lot of clients nationwide.
Thousands a year. Absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of fun. So just last year we were mentioned in Rapid Results, which is a book available on Amazon. We were also featured on the Credit Bible.
Nice.
And it's just kind of fun because both books were written by credit repair skeptics who sought out to basically say, like, don't hire a credit repair company, do it yourself, et cetera. And so the entire book is designed to entertain the idea that maybe not to hire. The very last chapter of both books, they mentioned, by the way, we found one diamond in the rough and referred us.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between, if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump right into it, between like a Lexington Law versus Dedicated? Like people, I know a lot of people go and talk with like Lexington Law.
Sure.
And I've been telling a lot of our clients, like, don't talk with them because I've seen results varying, and they're typically not the type of results that we need in order to complete a mortgage loan. But like comparing apples to apples, like what's the main difference between you and like an outside company that's going to be more beneficial to clients?
So I love that question. I wish more people asked it because, Lexington Law is really well known and it's well respected, generally speaking, a nationwide. The downside with Lexington Law is that, of course, it's such a huge organization, and they go direct to consumer for their marketing.
Right.
So they don't really care about your goals. They really don't care if you're able to buy a home at the end of their program. If you have a heartbeat and a credit card, they'll take your business.
Right.
Not concerning at all with, do you have open collections? How long have they been on your, report? Is this going to be a temporary solution when you really need a permanent one? So we don't market direct to consumer very, very often. In fact, other than our Facebook page and some Instagram posts, we really don't go direct to consumer. So all of our business comes nationwide from mortgage lenders, bankers, realtors, et cetera. So we care about the end user's goals. And so when we're working with a client, we tailor their campaign very specific to the time frame they're trying to accomplish the goal. And we're super realistic with them during a consultation that, hey, this is absolutely feasible, but not in the time period that you're needing it.
Right.
So, it's kind of a difference. And we're really a boutique feel. So although we help thousands of clients, you can't even go on our website and enroll, even if you want to.
Right.
There's no place to do that, which is unheard of.
You have to be called.
You have to have a free consultation to make sure. And frankly, a lot of people think that they need credit repair, but really they need some issues. They have issues with debt.
Right.
And so we are not debt consolidation. We're not consumer credit counseling. Really, that's more of a FICO disaster.
Yeah.
So we're really, truly the plastic surgery after the financial hardship, and that's where we, basically differ.
Right.
And then one last, thing that I can mention is that we dispute unlimited derogatory accounts every month. Whereas Lexington Law is known to dispute maybe 3 late payments a month with TransUnion. The next month, they'll dispute those maybe 4 more with Equifax. And their entire goal, of course, is to keep the client in the program as long as possible, collecting their monthly fee.
Right.
So, we try to make ours just super tenacious and fast for clients.
And that's kind of the biggest thing, too. And one of the reasons why I was kind of drawn to your company is because you really focus on the client's financial goals, right? My client's financial goal is to get a house.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's, hey, let's talk to Dedicated in a couple months. We'll have the credit score that we need to do, then we can go ahead and meet your goals. And that's one of the things I think you guys do an excellent job of. And like clients call me like raving about you guys all the time. And that's ultimately like why I keep sending you guys business, because I know the type of people that you employ and who you are.
Thank you.
And that's important to me, because then it makes me look good too. So
Absolutely. And we consider you our client.
Right.
So if we're not making you happy, there's not going to be a whole lot of others followed, through the program. So we 100% care about, you seeing that client through, so that you look good, of course, and then you want to send, additional clients, of course. So that's another difference, is we really truly have the relationship with you. And I like to say too that sometimes when clients come into our office, they come in ashamed, they come in embarrassed. It's kind of like they've had their head in the sand. It's pretty common to feel overwhelmed. You're getting different information from different sources, and sometimes it's just a matter of leaving the office with a roadmap, a complimentary plan, a free consultation, and it's 45 minutes long. So sometimes you may not be totally ready for credit repair, but you leave at least knowing, okay, now I have my action steps.
Right.
Yeah.
So as far as like a lot of our clients call us and we'll pull a copy of their credit, the majority of the thing that we see on there is debt utilization, right? So in some instances, a lot of people have, maybe one card that's maxed out, maybe not, like a little bit on the other ones. Can you talk a little bit about debt utilization? Like what would be the best way for clients to move forward in improving credit score and, just start tackling certain things?
Absolutely. So, 35% of the credit score, the FICO score algorithm, is your payment history. But second to that, which is equally important, is 30%, and that is the debt utilization factor that you're mentioning.
Right.
And so people are a little bit misguided in the fact that they get it confused that what an installment loan is versus revolving lines of credit.
Right.
And the FICO score cares much more about a consumer carrying 3 to 5 revolving lines of credit, which are credit cards.
Right.
So essentially, the best strategy for excellent FICO scores is that you never want to charge more than 25 to 35% on any one trade line or credit line.
Right.
So sometimes you'll see clients that have 700s, 800 FICO scores, and they may max a credit card out every month and pay it off in full for business purposes, and they're not penalized.
Right.
That's fine for someone in those FICO ranges. But when you have a client or you yourself are 680 or under, the best advice we can give a consumer is to keep using the cards. You want to always use cards, otherwise they consider it credit avoidance to make it, to pay it off in full every month,
right,
or even to not use your credit. So you really want to use the cards, keep those balances around 25 to 35% or lower. I always tell clients, I'm not telling you have to use the full 35.
Right.
Just don't exceed it.
Right.
And it's great if you want to, pay it off in full every other month to avoid interest payments, et cetera. That's fine. But you just have to really play the game where you keep your cards open, you pay them down, pay them off every other month, essentially.
Right.
Big misconception is that you don't get more FICO score points by paying twice a month. And people think, well, I overpaid, and it's good. It actually pays down the debt, which is phenomenal.
Right.
But it doesn't build your FICO score.
Right. And so something you just kind of said there really piqued my interest, which is credit avoidance, right? Because I get a lot of people like, oh yeah, I should have like an 800 score, and then we pull it, and there's literally no FICO score.
Exactly.
There.
Yeah.
And it's you haven't had a credit card in 2 years or anything on your credit, that it can actually impact you negatively, even though you technically don't owe any money. So that's kind of we run into a lot of people where it's just like, hey, go open up a credit card, put $20 on there. Then all of a sudden you'll see the score shoot back up. But it's kind of funny because people think like, oh, because I don't have credit, my credit score should be higher, basically.
Well, the downside of some of these classes like Dave Ramsey's Financial Freedom and, listening to Susie Orman and some of the, big well-known financial advisors out there,
right,
they're excellent at what they do. And they teach people how to become debt-free, which is phenomenal in the world of financial wisdom and coaching.
Exactly.
But in the FICO score, we always say there's FICO sense and financial sense, and they very rarely play well in the sandbox together. So unless we live in Alabama and we want to, buy a house for $60,000 of mattress money, which is great if you can, here in California, you have to be able to use both. You have to be able to be financially savvy and also use your credit cards to your advantage so that you can have excellent FICO scores.
Yeah.
So, very few of us have saved $500,000 worth of, mattress money.
Maybe one day.
Well, and even then, I think in California we have to source it, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
So
otherwise we get penalized for different taxes and everything else too. But no, it's just kind of what you said, because I know so many people that follow Dave Ramsey, and it's just like, okay, yes, from the financial standpoint, that is financial freedom.
Right.
However, you do need a FICO score in order to buy a house, buy a car, unless, like you said, you're going to be paying all cash. So it's kind of more being smarter with your FICO history, with, applying for certain debts than it is really just, not having anything at all.
Totally. And that's why I love the consultation that we give our clients, because we talk to them about the fact that that is probably plan B. So for example, if you want the house today and that's your first goal, then we need to think only about the FICO score right now.
Exactly.
We need to do all the things that are going to build that thing organically as quickly as possible. And then once you're in your home and you as a couple or whoever, you want to sit down and go, okay, let's figure out the best way to strategize to get out of debt, then that's absolutely important and can be extremely freeing and powerful to do, but it can't be done simultaneously, unfortunately.
Right. And that, I think that's kind of a good point too, because there's two schools of thought, basically, just like you said. So kind of talking more about, so moving forward, somebody who's working on building their credit right now, what's the best sort of advice that you can, I know credit, each individual person's credit is a different story, right? And that's kind of the funny thing. Like when I'm talking with clients, there's no specific, cookie cutter way of putting it. Everybody's going to be different.
Exactly.
But if you got somebody that is, just basically talking about, okay, what's the best way for me to start moving forward now? What would be the first steps that you would have them take a look at? Would it be, opening up a specific credit card, having them put money on there? Would it be tackling?
So I tend to think that since the most important part of the FICO score is your payment history, I always advise a client to come and get a free consultation for that alone. Because some of the derogatory things on a credit report, like 30-day lates, collections, charge-offs, those are really important. Because if you have a collection account, for example, that's within the statute of limitations, and every state has a different year for that. So in our case in California, it's 4 years. If you have a pretty substantial collection account that's just kind of being ignored, you risk the fact that that will go to a judgment in the form of a judgment. Then you have a wage garnishment. And typically that collection's resold. So it's a big deal. So, I like to sit down and go, okay, these are the derogatory accounts that you have. This is 16 30-day lates on one account. That's a big deal. This one only has one 30-day late, and really map out for them which ones they need to address in, pretty aggressively. And then of course work on that because it has the biggest impact on the FICO score. Obviously, establishing credit and dealing with utilization ratios is obviously equally important. But I feel like it's like diet and exercise. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do them both. So, if you do one without the other, you can get, improvement. But really, if you want to have the biggest bang for the buck, you got to do them at the same time. And that will typically result in a 65% improvement in the FICO score within 90 days. So super important to do pretty much at the same time.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Last thing, and we'll kind of, end with this one.
Okay.
Closing out consumer debt.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of it?
Okay, so never good. And I almost don't like the word never because it's never good to say never, you know what I mean? But in this case, I feel confident using that word because, there are things that occur. I know in my personal world, a couple of years ago, I went through a divorce. And in that process, I had to be removed or wanted to be removed from a few longstanding credit lines. And of course, it's painful to do that because if you have 15 years of positive payment history on a credit line and you get removed, your score
impacts your score.
Yeah, big time. But other than the times when it's absolutely imperative, like maybe even the final payment of a car payment, if you've paid the final payment, it's going to close the account. So typically we see a 60 to 80 point deduction from any card or any installment loan being paid off.
I didn't know that about the installment loans either.
It's a big deal. So you typically want to make sure that with an installment line, like a car, for example, that's done 6 months prior to the home loan purchase, if at all possible. If it's not possible, which in most cases, you can even worst case scenario ask to extend the lease a few months if you need to. Trust me, my Mercedes dealerships and others will do that for you in most cases. But if it's unavoidable, then we really, really need to look at the payment history and try to knock off as many late payments as possible in order to offset what's going to happen when you close or pay off a trade line.
Right, and that's a great point too because again, that's something that I didn't even know. I thought, okay, an installment loan, you pay that off, it's closed, move on from there. But and I mean, what you just said there too is something that I do tell a lot of my clients, like do not close any credit cards, do not close any accounts. That's going to impact everything negatively. So that's good to know about also installment loans as well.
Well, and keep in mind too, if you do all of the things that we tell you in a consultation and you open up 3 credit cards and you're all excited about your FICO scores and you get on and you're watching your score real time on what I call the FACO websites like Credit Karma and things like that,
Right.
you're going to see a drop right away of about 40, 50 points. And people are like, wait a minute, I'm in credit repair. You just told me to open credit. Now my score dropped. It's a super temporary drop, but it's essential because essentially they're saying, okay, brand new inquiry. There's 5 points at least. And then it's 15% deduction on the lack of credit history that new trade line's reported.
Right.
So opening it up will report it within 30 days, but not help you for 3 to 6
That's
months.
interesting.
Yeah. So
sometimes you got to rip off the Band-Aid.
you do. You got to go backwards, like 3 steps back to go 10 forward.
Right.
So certainly credit repair is to be done prior to the home, purchasing process, not simultaneously.
Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people, it's like, can I do this while doing that? It's like, absolutely not. Because, I know that you're going to be doing any work. And then if I'm also pulling a mortgage inquiry on there too, that's just going to impact, it's going to negate anything that you guys are doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, the one thing that I really love about your company is you keep me informed as far as what's going on with our clients, right? They're our clients now. And so, I send a lot of people to you guys, and I love getting the updates. Me specifically, a loan officer, I want to know when my client's ready to go.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I believe in transparency and accountability as my 2 biggest words in our office. I believe that a consumer should know exactly what they're getting for the money that they're spending. So not only does the consumer log in to their to our website, there's a secure login username and password. They log in, they see a pie chart, what's been removed, what's been deleted with every bureau, what's currently in dispute. So there's no question about what's going on my file.
Right.
But like you just mentioned, so can you, and frankly, a realtor. So a realtor partner, you and the client. So typically, I've got 3 people calling, checking on status for the same consumer. So I like it because it avoids the he said, she said, over-promising that tends to happen in our industry, unfortunately. And so you'll know to the minute. And frankly, you know me well enough to know I would never say 100 points guaranteed in 30 days. That's just not what I would do.
But it is cool, though. So if you guys are interested in going and seeing the actual results, because you post them up on Dedicated Credit's Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
So it's cool because you go on there like, this late removed, this late removed, this late removed, like credit score increase 80 points. Like, those are real results.
Real time.
I don't know how you guys do it. I always tell people, I don't know how they do it, but
know.
they do it. I don't want to know.
It's all legal and ethical, I promise. But it's funny because just last night I was talking to a bankruptcy attorney that was at an event that I was at. And she's like, it's the craziest thing. I mean, I now know to refer you because you have gotten a few of my clients' bankruptcies removed only 6 months after it was discharged.
Right.
How do you do, it's kind of like, how do you do what you do?
That?
Of course, and I always say every single thing we do is legal and ethical, and every year we're, renewed by the DOJ. But I will tell you, we make sure we're on top of our game to make sure we know how to be a little ahead of the credit bureaus in terms of how to get, things removed.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, too, like working with somebody like you, I know your type of character, I know who you are. Like, I feel comfortable and confident. Like, when I refer you, you have my client's best interests at heart. So I appreciate that. So, well, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. I've been excited for this for a really long time. So I'm like,
Me too. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. You're amazing. And one of the things I want to just say, it is so refreshing to work with lenders that are proactive. They do log in to check the status of their clients. A lot of lenders will say, I don't want to work with clients with bad credit.
Right.
I don't have any of those clients. And I feel like, it's not really a great business practice and that 1 in 4 people need it.
Right.
And it's not a character flaw.
We have clients too that like we sent to you a year ago. Now they're ready. Now they're in escrow.
Yeah.
Right. Like we follow up with them. That's one of the things. I mean, granted, everybody's not perfect, right? And that's the biggest thing. But we are going to be we're the type of people where we are going to be continuing to work on getting people the American dream. We want them to help attain the American dream. So that's why I love.
And your clients love you, and they always talk good about you guys.
So anyway, thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it, Tiffany. And this is going to wrap up this podcast. If you are interested, we're going to drop Dedicated Credit's website and phone number on the video portion of it. We'll go ahead and put that in the link in the bio for the podcast too. I'm looking at James here real quick. Attaboy. So if you guys are interested, please give them a call. I know we have a couple of people that are listening to us from different states. While we are not licensed in those states, she definitely is. So definitely take advantage of her company because they are awesome and they will take care of you as well. So Tiffany, I appreciate it. And thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All right.